Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Skyland Town Center. Good morning. I am Sarosh Opadwala, the Director of Real Estate in the Deputy Mayor's Office, and my office oversees all of the city's real estate projects, and I'm honored to be here today to celebrate a great milestone in one of our city's most impactful projects, the Skyland Town Center. We share this celebration with you, the community, the construction workers, our development partners, government officials, and neighbors who have stuck with us for many years. Before we get started, I'd like to thank my project management team, the W.C. Smith companies, Rappaport companies, Councilmember Gray, and of course, Mayor Muriel Bowser. As you've often heard the mayor say, development means housing and it means jobs. One of our goals here at Skyland is to ensure that local residents are connected to jobs in the development. We have an important partner in this endeavor, the Skyland Workforce Center, and I now have the pleasure of introducing you to its director, Anne-Marie Bristow.
Good morning. I'm Anne-Marie. I'm the director of the Skyland Workforce Center. We are thrilled to be here to celebrate this milestone with the mayor and the Skyland development team. The Workforce Center was founded in 2004 by W.C. Smith, Rappaport, and the Skyland Center development team in partnership with the nonprofit Building Bridges Across the River to help prepare D.C. residents for getting jobs throughout the city and specifically on this site right here. The Workforce Center is a collaborative of 5 nonprofit partners. We provide a variety of employment services, primarily to residents of Wards 7 and 8. Since December of 2014, we've had 3,000 people come through our doors. We've placed 513 people in jobs, and 21 of those people have been working on this site here. One of those is here with us today, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce him, Charles Young, a former client of the center. I'm going to let him tell his own story because it's a great story, but please join me in giving him a warm welcome.
Oh, man. Good morning. My name is Charles Young, and I'm honored to be here to celebrate this milestone. Probably about 5 years ago, up to 5 years ago, I was the guy that you'll see around here, right over here at BP gas station, pumping gas for a little change. That was my life. I thought that selling single cigarettes was an occupation. And one day, I just got fed up. It was hot as it was out here. And I was just coming down here at Skyland Workforce Development Center, and I decided to go in there. Nothing in particular, just go in there, cool off, get some water. So I started talking to this lady, and she put something on my mind. It kind of like hit me like a ton of bricks. She said, listen, she knew I was in bad shape. And she said, listen, she said, if you want help, get help. And right after that same week, I was in a program, get myself some help. And right after I completed that program, I came back to the center, and she was there just waiting on me. And what happened, she asked me, we went in her office, she asked me what was I trying to do and stuff, and they was building this place here. So I said, I would like to work over there. And we did the paperwork, and sure enough, about 2 weeks later, Strip Matter Construction Company called me. And I met with them, and I haven't looked back. You know, we're looking at 5 years now. I haven't looked back. And what they did, I was working here. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, all the time. So what happened, just by me showing up and showing initiative and going the extra mile and, you know, working late, the company seen something in me. So what they decided to do is put me in an apprenticeship program because they seen I was eager. So they didn't just hire me. They trained me. And most importantly, they gave me hope. And by me working right here, the crazy part about it, by me working right here, I can look at the BP gas station where I thought was my job. Well, I thought that was my job, and I can look over there, and it just gave me more determination to stay on this side of the street. So I'm honored to be here. And I mean, it's a pleasure to be here on this side of the street. And just about everywhere you see a crane at, I had something to do. Coming up on 5 years in this construction field with the same company, Strip Matter Construction Company. And it just feel good because, you know, I'm a taxpayer now. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm a taxpayer now. I'm able to take care of my family, my kids. I got my kids back in my life. And I'm not bumming anything from anybody, you know what I mean? And I thank God for that. So, without further ado, I'm honored to introduce the mayor. And, wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, she understands that Ward 7 and Ward 8 deserve the same option as the rest of the city. So without further ado, please help me welcome our mayor from Washington, D.C. Let's hear Miss Muriel Bowser. Thank you so much.
And thank you for being on this side of the street.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, good morning, everybody. I was all prepared to talk about all the beautiful units and amenities that we're bringing here, but what you saw in Charles's story is a story of Washingtonians all over the city, that somebody spoke to them, believed in them, showed them the path, and helped Charles change his life. And Charles made a wonderful decision that day to be on this side of the street and on this side of the rest of his life. And there are so many people just like Charles in our city who want to work, who can work, who are smart, creative, hardworking, and they need opportunities. I am just really delighted to be here with the Ward 7 community who has stuck with Skyland for many, many years. Let's hear it for Ward 7. I am also honored to be here with Councilmember Vincent Gray, who was one of the several mayors who have worked on Skyland, and he and I are representing all the mayors who've worked on it, and I'm glad to be the last one to work on Skyland and getting it done. So let's please give a hand to Councilmember Vincent Gray for all of the work that he has done. To Hillcrest and Penn Branch and all of the neighborhood associations that are represented here, including Marshall Heights and Benning Ridge Civic Association. Thank you to the neighbors of Ward 7 for your leadership and advocacy in working on this project. 15 years in the making, and this is shaping up to be one of the most exciting projects in the District of Columbia that is offering not only jobs in the construction phase, but jobs when this project delivers, which is hugely important. I want to thank our DMPED team. You heard from Sarosh Adpadwala, who is the Director of Real Estate for the district. John Felchicchio is with me, serving as the interim deputy mayor for the Planning and Economic Development Department for us as well. And all of the members of our DMPED team who are here, who have been very busy on delivering big city projects like this one, from Walter Reed in Ward 4 to St. Elizabeth's in Ward 8, and very especially here at Skyland in Ward 7. We continue to make big investments in housing and amenities for Washingtonians across all 8 wards of our city. This community has waited long enough for the Skyland Town Center and have worked on this project. Coming into office, I charged my team with looking at all the different ways we could get this project moving, and not only moving, but moving quickly. One of the ways was providing a $7 million grant to help pay for some of the infrastructure work that needed to happen. We also negotiated a covenant with another retailer so that we could move forward here. I'll leave it at that. And after the anchor tenant broke their commitment to our city, we renegotiated the TIF that had been approved by this project because it needed to be larger to make the project work. In short, we did what we needed to do to get Skyland delivered. And we made those investments because this neighborhood is worth it. Ward 7 is worth it. And this will be one of the premier projects of all of Washington, D.C. And the thing sometimes, serendipity works in your favor because now when I look at how this project will be situated on this parcel and that the views that would have gone to a retailer are now going to go to D.C. residents. And we love that adjustment. Nearly 500 apartments, 150 affordable workforce units, local and national retailers and restaurants, including CVS. And I'm going to save our big retailer for later. And I should just say, we have been working on with Councilmember Gray, and he has a lot of initiatives to deliver more fresh food and grocery to Ward 7. And every tool that is possible, we will employ. And one of those tools, and Councilmember Gray will agree, that each year when we go out to Las Vegas to talk about retail, every year, as closer and closer as this project gets to be delivered, more and more people, more and more retailers are talking about what's happening here at Skyland. And there was one such retailer that we've been working on for a few years to enter this market. And they were pitched a lot of projects all over the city in all 8 wards. And they chose this project to be their first in Washington, D.C. So I know that you will join me in welcoming Lidl to Skyland Town Center. And we're going to hear from representatives from Lidl in just a moment. So with that, we're going to hear from our development team, the William C. Smith companies, and they're going to tell you all about their partnership with Gary Rappaport. And I would just want to comment on them, and they can say it better than I can. But they have been committed to this project. It's been tough. The financing has been tough. The recruitment has been tough. But mostly sticking together for 15 years is tough when you're talking about building housing and retail. So I want to thank them for their commitment to the city, for working with community members every step of the way, and helping to deliver a project that we can be proud of. So please give a hand to the William C. Smith companies. So with that, I want to introduce your council member who I know knows every detail of this project, the number of meetings, the changes here and there, and I know he's very proud to help deliver this project for all of you. Councilmember Gray.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Bowser. We're delighted that you are here today to be a part of this auspicious occasion. I guess we're hot, right? Yes. Quite literally and figuratively, too. I want to say thanks to you and your team for the work that's been done to be able to get us to where we are today. This has been a long time coming. I think when I first became a council member, that was one of the projects that we started to work on when I was elected to Ward 7. Then when I moved on to be the chair of the council, then mayor, and now back to be Ward 7 council member again. And it is wonderful to be here today to see this is going to finally happen and to be done and to bring such a wonderful amenity to this side of the city and to the rest of the District of Columbia. I want to say thanks to Charles Young, who gave such a great presentation on what it means to be able to get to another place. Charles, I remember when you came into the Workforce Development Center and you talked about the opportunities that you thought might be available to you. And I am delighted that you've given up pumping gas across in the gas station and now you'll be able to generate your own gas as a result of the work that you're doing at this point. There's so many other people who I could cite today as well, and I want to especially thank Gloria Logan, who is one of the Gloria, of course, is and her late husband Dennis, who was a deputy fire chief. They have been icons in the Hillcrest community. And Gloria, I want to thank you for sticking with us to be able to get this project done. And wait until the ribbon comes, and we'll be here. Yeah, absolutely. And you waited a long time and incredible perseverance and patience. I well remember when we went through the process. We used to have. Anybody remember the shops that used to be over here in Skyland? And we had to go through a process called eminent domain. How many of you know what eminent domain is? How many of you even care what eminent domain is? Well, it was a process of saying to people, you know what, we're going to try to create a different place than we have had in the past at Skyland. And a part of that is going to be rebuilding everything here. And we went through a multi-year process of negotiating with the people who had the shops here, who were ready to move on to something better. And I'm delighted that we were able to work, the city was able to work with them to be able to get to a different place. They all were successfully relocated. Many of them have places operating somewhere else at this point. And we hope that some of them will think about coming back to Skyland now that we are getting close with this. It has took some real belief, maybe belief almost beyond the point of reality, to get people to the point where they say it really is going to be a Skyland. When you look at the housing that's going on behind us, what a magnificent addition that is going to be to our community. When it's all said and done, the first phase, I think, is 250 units. Another 250 units will be built. We'll have 500 new units of housing in Hillcrest to be a part of our efforts here. And also, shouldn't people be able to shop where they live? Yeah. They shouldn't have to go someplace else to shop. So you're going to hear from our soon, and I'm not going to steal their thunder, but I'm sure glad they replaced the one that walked away from us. Anybody remember that? Yeah, that was a terrible experience, and they're here now to be able to bring a competition in grocery stores to us here in the District of Columbia. So people should be able to shop where they live. They should have the amenities. We're looking forward to sit-down restaurants coming to Skyland. We're looking forward to the people who will live here. We're looking forward also to health care services that will be available. In talking to Gary Rappaport and Chris Smith, I know that one of the additional features that they're looking to is to bring an office medical building to Skyland. What a wonderful addition that will be to the hospital that we're going to be building, hopefully in the very near future. It won't take 15 years to be able to do that. We're very close on that, and I'm delighted about that. That will be a wonderful opportunity to look at our community and say everything that people should have available to them is now available to them living in Ward 7 and nearby Ward 8, of course. There's some other folks I want to thank, too. We have an Economic Development Advisory Council, which is chaired by Warren Williams. And Chris Smith is a part of it, and a number of other people who work with us to be able to open doors, to bring more amenities, grocery stores and restaurants to people here on the east end of the District of Columbia. So I want to thank them for all that they've done. They've worked with us on the legislation that the mayor alluded to, one of which is a bill that would have the city actually invest in building grocery stores, especially in Ward 7 and Ward 8, where we desperately need those kinds of services, and then make them available to bona fide operators to be able to bring their amenities to the city. So this is a great day. It is a fun day. It is a day we can celebrate. And the only day that will be better is when we cut the ribbon and say we got all these people moving in, and we got a new grocer who is coming with us, and I'll leave that to them to be able to talk about themselves. Thank you all very much for being here. This is a great topping off ceremony. Thank you all, everybody.
And now it brings me pleasure to introduce members of the development team who I talked about a little bit earlier, who've stuck with this project for 15 years and all the while staying in close contact with the community. And the Smith Companies is represented by Brad Fennell. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, Mayor Bowser. Yeah, appreciate it. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you all, and thank you for that great introduction, Mayor Bowser, and thank you, Councilmember Gray, for your remarks. It's certainly wonderful to be here today and be part of this celebration. As a developer, certainly we love the ribbon cutting, but progress is progress, and when you have a 17-year project, you certainly want to celebrate those milestones. So I think that the entire DEMPED staff is due a thanks, particularly to Sarosh Appalwalda and former Deputy Mayor Brian Kenner. Their leadership, the mayor mentioned that earlier about the break in financing and challenges trying to get project financings done. Without their leadership, I don't think we could have made that happen. And that's same for the DC Chief Financial Officer and his team for the support that he gave the project. I'd also like to thank our development partners, the Rappaport Companies, Washington East Foundation, Marshall Heights Community Development Organization, and Skyland DC. Also our finance partners, Eagle Bank and EB5 Capital Partners. Without the money, obviously, we can't get these things done. We'd not be standing here today, though, without the support of community leaders who steadfastly stood behind this project over the past 17 years. And I want to thank all of them. But I especially want to point out and thank Earl Williams of the Skyland Task Force, Tiffany Brown and ANC Chair Robin Marlin for their leadership and their longtime support. And we also look forward to working with the new ANC Chair, D.L. Humphrey. So we have a meeting this evening, and we're going to be going over the future plans, which is very exciting to be talking about the termination of Phase 1 and the glimpse of what Phase 2 and Phase 3 will look like and the future development. Special thanks obviously has to go out to our construction partners, WCS Construction, and the folks over at LF Jennings. They've been at this, as you've heard, for a long time. It's a big, complex project. There's a lot that goes into a mixed-use building of this size and nature, and I certainly want to recognize and thank them for their commitment, as well as the development teams at Rappaport and W.C. Smith. Obviously, the details of what make these projects work, and there's no never-ending river of details that have to get worked out in order to make these things happen. As you know, and as was mentioned, we certainly faced a lot of challenges over the years, but this topping out celebration is really a momentous occasion, and as you said earlier, one to celebrate. And so I hope everybody feels as happy as we do and excited to be here. We talked earlier about jobs. Skylands, I just wanted to point out, has provided over 100 DC residents continued employment and new jobs to date, and we're going to keep growing that number. It's one of our focuses. And, the 263 residents who are going to move in here next year are going to just have an exciting home. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our retail partner, Henry Fonville.
Did you just say all the residential units will be occupied next year?
Next year.
That's
right.
fantastic. Yes.
Way to go, Henry.
I'm Henry Fonville with Rappaport. I'm here on behalf of Gary Rappaport. It's my distinct pleasure to represent him. As everybody knows, nobody's worked on this project harder and longer than Gary. He's out west on a family trip. Thank you. Thank you. I will relay that. We are so committed here. Everybody who is here, Brad and the mayor and Councilmember Gray have already thanked a lot of people. I want to go one step further and say, if you are here, you are a VIP. Let's give everybody a round of applause. It's incredible. It's incredible. Thank you, Brad, so much for everything. Working with your group has been incredible. If the fact that this has all come together and that we're standing at the ultimate height of this building, which will have 85,000 square feet of retail on the first floor. We're already working on, of course, all that and getting great walkable cafe seating and streets lined with trees, gathering spaces. We want to become the central of the community, the gathering place of the community. And after all these years, this vision is coming to life. Known for, and all the people that I don't want to go through everybody's name again, but Dean Harrison wasn't mentioned here yet. So he's around here somewhere. Carrie Fisher. There's so many important people to recognize. So I'm going to hang around. Doesn't matter how hot it gets. Please come say hello afterwards, because I have a lot of people to thank. To introduce Lidl, we've talked about him a couple of times, but Lidl has been such a good partner, and we had a great announcement of the Lidl deal out in Las Vegas. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilmember Gray. It was just incredible. With the help of WDCP at their party, I see Chad running around there somewhere. Chad, by the way, I'm wearing your DC socks. That's how committed we are. We're so excited for Lidl to be here and be our anchor. They're going to open a 29,000 square foot store. They will just be a super anchor for what we're doing. And now I want Connor Bevins, the Director of Real Estate, to come up from Lidl. Thank you, Connor.
Thank you, Henry, for the kind introduction. On behalf of Lidl US, I would like to take a moment to thank Mayor Bowser and Councilman Gray and all the economic development leaders who have helped us get us to this point. We're extremely excited to be here. We're truly excited to celebrate the construction and the first Lidl US store in the district. We appreciate all the work that's been done to get to this point. We also appreciate all of the anticipation I see from the residents. I'll remember all of your faces and fully expect to see you there at the ribbon cutting ceremony. So please come up to me at that point. You know, we can't wait to introduce the people of DC and this neighborhood to our award-winning quality products, reliably low prices, and convenient shopping experience. We're confident you all will be blown away with our simple and efficient shopping experience, which we've already brought to 9 states along the East Coast, and since we started our expansion in June 2017. Convenience is one of the reasons why we're here. We want to be part of your daily life. We want to be part of the community, and we look forward and feel that this property will help be part of your guys' daily life. The new Lidl store will join more than 65 locations we've already opened nationally. We also have 9 more coming in the DC metropolitan area right now. We've recently also announced plans to open 25 new stores by the spring of 2020, including 7 in Maryland. We're committed to being part of this growing community. We value the relationships that we have built with everyone here and look forward to working with many of you all again in future projects. Thank you once again for all of your guys' time, and we look forward to opening.
Okay, we can take a few questions, a very few questions. And then we are going, and the topping out, as you've heard mentioned, means that the project has reached its high point. It's going as high as it's going to go. And we will sign a beam that will be placed at the top, thus a topping out. Okay, any questions? Press questions, press questions, press questions, press questions. Off topic. Let's go get the party.
What makes you think that?
Okay, what's your question?
Heat.
Okay, it's hot.
Yeah, what can you tell us in your words for residents going through this weekend, particularly tomorrow and Saturday, about what will be available to them? And do you know of any cancellations of any events thus far?
I don't. So let me give you a quick rundown. I'm going to ask the team to jump in because we briefed about it this morning. We're asking everybody, of course, to stay hydrated, stay indoors, don't do too much strenuous, unnecessary activity. That's first and foremost. Check on your neighbors. For people who are living without air conditioning, this can be a pretty brutal few days. We are keeping a close eye on our government facilities. We have a few indoor pool facilities because of how they're constructed. The humidity and the temperature in a few of those has gotten too high in the afternoon. And so I would just check in with DPR about the status of indoor pool facilities. Our outdoor pool facilities, we're going to extend the hours of operation on all of those facilities as well. And I'm not aware of any other cancellations of our events. Did I miss anything? Okay, yes.
Do you have any data on calls for service to 911 with
We don't see an extraordinary spike at this point. Yes. Thank you.
And we changed this whole area, and everybody is happy about it. And I know Mr. Gray, I don't think y'all been working with for a long time. And
well, thank you for that nice comment. It's paid off. Yes.
I want to commend you all's perseverance on making sure that something major happened in this land space. And the fact that we're able to see cranes in Ward 7 is amazing to me as a Ward 7 resident. So thank Councilmember Gray and you, Mayor.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. And thank you once again to all of the community for all of your hard work in delivering the project that you've been working so hard for. Yes, ma'am. Sure. Lido, you want to say a little bit more about your format?
Sure. Thank you for your interest. I'd say we are a majority private label grocer, so 90% of what's on our product is on our stores is stuff that we develop, and our goal is to deliver fresh, affordable, high quality products, and that's what our mission is, and it is the same for all of our stores.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to know what other retail stores might be coming to this vast construction.
Okay, I know that the team has briefed out about CVS rejoining the project, and I think they're going to make additional announcements as we go on. We don't have any other announcements to make. And to get back to your question, ma'am, I think we heard that we're talking about a 29,000 square foot store, which is it's like many other smaller grocers that we've seen in the area, like Harris Teeter and Trader Joe's, that are a little bit smaller than some of the larger format grocers. And we have a lot of that size of grocers all around the city. Yes.
My question is, will the average D.C. government employee, which is not the low middle class, but the upper middle class, be able to afford these apartments?
So we have 150 workforce units here. Can I have W.C. Smith talk about where we think the price point for all the units, including the workforce units, will be? And then I also want to talk to you about our home buying programs.
Thank you for the question. So 263 units, 30% of which have income affordability on them. The rest of the units are going to be priced relative to the market. And so the market for this neighborhood, as we know, has been a long time coming, and it's still emerging. And so I think that when you compare rents relative to the Capitol Riverfront or the Navy Yard area, certainly all rents will be significantly below those rents. And so to your question, we do believe the pricing will be absolutely affordable for district government and residents of those income tiers.
Say that because I'm in the middle, where some apartments you qualify for the lower, some you don't, and you end up having to pay market price, which is not affordable.
So I think here market price is going to be more affordable, much more affordable than what we're seeing across the city. Yes, below 2,000, absolutely. Yes.
And the other thing I wanted to mention for all of our D.C. government employees listening, because we want all of our D.C. government employees to find homes in Washington, D.C. And we've committed to a lot of home buying programs, too. So I hope that you're taking advantage of all of them, including a new mortgage product offered to D.C. government employees from Eagle Bank, who is a partner on this project as well. Okay, let's get to the signing of the beam.
Down, please. Stay down.